Everybody, welcome back. 16 wins in a row. Here we go. It's a good day. We got Hourglass. We got a Holy Mantle, dude. Holy Mackinac. Would you look at that? What does that mean? I know it's a sports expression from baseball. Holy Mackinac. But what the heck is a Mackinac? Doesn't make any sense to me. We don't need to get into it. You know, maybe it's not one of those days where we dissect something. I'm pretty sure it's just a made-up word, unless Mackinac is like, you know, like an old West Virginia bridge or something like that. It's Mackinac Bridge, dude. So what's the game plan here? Well, with 16 wins in a row, you know, I think doing what we've been doing is pretty good. This is a great start so far. Holy Mantle, maybe the best defensive item in the game. If push came to shove, it probably would be not my favorite defensive item in the game. It would be real close, though. It would be part of the final conversation. I might prefer Satanic Bible, but Holy Mantle plus an Orbital, basically just like cancel your loss. Today, we are canceling the apocalypse. Look, I'll go to bed. Is Pacific Rim a good movie? Yes. Look at that. Are your expectations subverted? I'm not a coward. I'm not a film coward. There's a lot of film cowards out there who will say things like, now is it a good movie? No. Have I seen it 30 times? Yes. And sometimes I think that holds true. For example, Austin Powers 2. Is it a good movie? In my opinion, no. Have I seen it 30 times? Yes. How did that happen? One summer in 8th grade. Thought it would be cool to be the guy who watches Austin Powers, the spy who shagged me every single day. Didn't have anything better to do. However, I'm definitely not one of those people who like, movie I enjoyed actually is real stinky. I think you gotta recognize, you know, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You know what I mean by that in this case? You can't be a film snob and then also be like, you know, ashamed of your tastes. That's my 2 cents on that. I think Pacific Rim is a good movie. I think it's a lot of fun. And I think there are problems with it, and we don't speak of the sequel, which is honestly just insulting. I think we're good to go here. But the movie itself, Pacific Rim, I'm a fan. I would give it a 7. I think I would stop there. I think I would give it a 7 out of 10. It makes it into good movie range for me. Even though it is... And I mean, look, I talk about this all the time. And people very much disagree with me. I've ended up martyring myself as a result here. However, I think action movies and like science fiction movies that have low cerebral coefficients attached to them get unfairly maligned as, you know, being unenlightened, you know, and perhaps even like not worthy pieces of media. But there's a huge difference between like John Wick and Transformers, and it's not just like one is Keanu, you know? There's an artfulness in the creation of one and a cynicism in the creation of the other. If you can't see that, then you still got some growing up to do at the cinema as far as I'm concerned. Mind you. It's crazy for me to think, oh, let me out! It's crazy. I hope my neighbors didn't hear that. They're gonna be mighty confused. It's crazy for me to think, like when I saw Parasite at the movie theater, I did not think that that was the last movie I was gonna see in theaters for like maybe 2 years. You might be like, I don't go to the movies that often. The last movie I saw in theaters was Inception or something. That's fine. You know, I'm not being a hater. But you clearly don't like going to the movies that much. I like going to the movies. In 2019, I probably saw legitimately like 20 movies at the theater. There's so many I can't remember. You know? Parasite, Jojo Rabbit, Booksmart, Midsommar, and we're like all the Marvel films, of which in 2019 I'm pretty sure there were like 3. Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, I'll take it. And Endgame. Like, if you thought I was joking when I said 20, I think we're in there. Did I see a movie at the theater every other week? I honestly believe that it's possible, yes. But I never would have thought when I saw Parasite in December of 2019 that it would end up being the last movie I see in theaters for a while. Obviously, you know, because of COVID, we haven't been to the theater in 2020. Now that I think about it, I'm like, maybe I saw a movie between January and March. I can't remember, though. But either way, you know what I just remembered? I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood last year. I saw Ad Astra in theaters last year. We were going to it was a nice little Saturday tradition. I like going to the movie theater. But yeah, obviously in 2020, haven't gone because of COVID. And also January to February, typically not a great time at the multiplex to begin with. Thank you for your blessed deal with the devil we did not deserve here. I will absolutely take this. And I think we'll move on. Maybe with 10 bombs, we might be remiss if we didn't look for a second secret room. Okay. And I actually think we should probably look for a secret room, too, just because we might get enough money to get something from the shop. But then, like, the next thing is, when's the next time we're going to go to the movie theater? I mean, I don't know, man. That's something you'd have to ask, like, a professional gambler. Why not give it a try? Because, just drop it. Just drop it. Get the heck out of town. We need COVID to be over. Or at least, like, be in a good position in BC, which is up in the air right now, as of the time of this recording, at least. And B, like, you know, it'll almost certainly have to be post-birth, but, like, how long post-birth? We could get a babysitter, but, like, I mean, when is the first time you get a babysitter? When my parents are here, sure, maybe I don't mind, but I'm pretty sure within, like, 2 months of the baby's birth, we're not going to be like, date night! Well, date night will be like, hey, you know, you guys take care of the baby. We're going to sleep, and we'll pick her up tomorrow. So I honestly don't know. I don't know when the next time I see a movie in theaters will be. Probably Avatar 4. Haven't seen the first 3 yet, but we'll see. If they're even out by then. It's weird. I never would have expected. If at the theater you had been like, this is the last time you're going to see a movie in theaters for, you know, 2 years, 3 years maybe, I would be like, I don't believe you. On the other hand, allow me to say, this is a good one to go out on. Parasite, great movie. Prior to that, I thought that would blow you up. It would have been Jojo Rabbit, which I didn't enjoy all that much, though I understand that, I don't think I'm in the super minority, but a lot of people really, really liked that movie. I thought it was cute, maybe a little cloying, but really the defining theater experience for us is that there was a man behind us who came to the movies to watch Jojo Rabbit by himself, and genuinely, in the final act, it sounded like he was engaging in an act of self-love, and then he left before the movie ended. It was just a weird dynamic. But I'll be honest, it's a weird movie theater. It's not a movie theater that is unusual to... If you lived in Vancouver, and you were like, you know, hey, what theater did you see that at? And I went, oh, the one in the old Tinseltown Mall. They'd be like, yeah, okay. Fair enough. Things get a little spicy there. Anyway. Here we are. Doing everything we can. See what we got going on here. 26 cents. Great offense. Well, good offense, great defense is where I would typify this right now. Good offense, great defense. Are we the Minnesota Wild? Before elimination from the NHL play-in round qualifiers? Sorry, Minnesota. I hate to rub it in. As much as I think, well, let's not get into it. I got nothing against the people of Minnesota. The team I find a little annoying, but that's probably because we were just playing against one another, you know? Every team finds their opponents annoying unless they're just destroying them. I feel like it's the opposite. Like, the Vancouver fandom, people are very rude to the city of Vancouver when they, you know, lose to the Canucks. I feel like Steven Glansberg from Superbad. Whenever our team wins and another team's salty, people are like, yeah, why don't you riot about it? And I'm like, that was 8 years ago. Also, I mean, I'm tired of, like, taking ownership for the riots. I didn't even live here. I lived in Korea at the time. I had never even, like, been to Vancouver at the time. They're like, why don't you riot about it? And I'm like, I know, dude. Nobody hates idiots in the city more than me. You should listen to some of my videos, but you don't get to make a joke about it. Unfortunately, it's very hard to give it back because, you know, someone from Minnesota is like, why don't you riot about it? I'm like, yeah, why don't you riot about it? But then again, your riot that happened recently had like a real social conscience to it and was not merely motivated by a loss in the Stanley Cup Finals. So, like, good on you, but at the same time, like, why don't you riot about it? You know? I don't want that item. I don't want that item either. I mean, when your city riots over hockey, you don't have a leg to stand on. I'll admit. However, I will say, I would be very surprised. Like, if the Canucks made it to the Cup Finals this year and got eliminated, I think we can actually take it this time. And, like, they lost in 7 games. Well, first off, it wouldn't be in Vancouver when it happened, so I think the risk of riot would be relatively low to begin with. But I also think just the tone of the city has changed. Even in the time that I've lived here, it's become more, like, sterilized. And, you know, there's certainly, like, negative aspects to that. But one of the positive aspects is that I really do think the riot risk would be relatively low. And then the second thing is that the last riot was, like, one of the greatest civic shames in Vancouver's last, like, 50 years of existence. So I think that the police presence would be absurd. I don't think they would play around with this one. So I think the riot risk here is relatively low. But I will say, when my parents were here for the World Junior Hockey Championships, I was like, you guys, we're giving you the tickets to the gold medal game. If it has Canada and Canada wins, enjoy your day. If it has Canada and Canada's losing like 3-0 in the third period, leave early and come to our place. I don't think anything's gonna happen, but I did. I mean, dude, like, if this is what the episode's gonna be, it's what it's gonna be. I already talked about, like, that hockey fan when we were in Korea, that this is like a week ago or a week and a half ago in terms of episodes, that, like, when Canada lost to Germany was just being a total D-head on the train home, which is like 2 hours of misery. But, like, even when the World Juniors were here, which is, for anyone that doesn't know, it's an under-20 tournament for, like, the best hockey countries on earth. So, you know, you get to see, it's a huge deal in Canada. It's like a relatively huge deal, at least. Like, we don't care about the World Championships at all. We care about, like, the Stanley Cup, the Olympics once every 4 years, and then the World Juniors every year. So when they happened in Vancouver, it was exciting, right? We bought tickets. Tickets were expensive. Like, these were games that were pricey to go to. And even still, like, the number of times we would be, like, leaving Rogers Arena and see 2 people in a Canadian jersey fighting each other was just like, what are you doing? Like, I just don't understand how you... It's just embarrassing, honestly, to be, like, walking home from a... Like, my parents are there, right? We're walking home to the train, and, you gotta walk past people that are getting into fistfights, and I'm like, this isn't what the whole city's like. You know, this is, this is just a small subset of the city that I apologize for. But it's not a Vancouver issue. It's like I think it's an everywhere issue. I was gonna say an everywhere in Canada issue, but even that I don't think is fair. Like, people in my hometown love to fight too. And it's not by and large. It's, you know, a small subset of people, but still. I don't know, man. I don't understand it. Just like a heavy could you not energy radiating out of all those people at all times. And I enjoyed the World Juniors being in my city. You know, we saw some cool hockey. It was like a once in a lifetime sort of event to go to. But between people fighting, people getting consistently way too hammered, way too early in the day, and being disruptive. Like, I don't care if you get schmammered. Just, you know, mind your business. I guess is what. Just hold it together, dummy. Don't be a jerk about it. But then, like, the other thing was, like, the guy who sat behind us the whole time was like, you know, he clearly had played minor league hockey at some point in his life, and anytime the players did anything that was, like, not optimum, he was like, oh, well, you can't do that. What are you going to do? Coach is going to be mad at you for that one. You know, back when I was playing, and I was like, back when you were playing in the 1980s, people were eating donuts between every intermission to refuel. And also, you didn't even make the show. So what are you're really coming here as like a 45-year-old man to be like, whoa, these, back when I was 19, I would have... Well, clearly you didn't. Clearly you didn't, sir. Anyway. Not to be judgmental, I'm just... you know how it is. You go to... It's the same complaint most people have. They go to a movie theater or a sporting event. It's really nice to be at the movie theater. It's really nice to be at a sporting event. But the guys who sat next to me were kind of, you know, annoying. It happens. For me, it happens way less at the movie theater than it does at a sporting event, for sure. Because at a sporting event, people get drunk enough to lose their inhibitions. And I'm not... Like, here's the thing. Some people will say things like, well, if you were going to be a jerk without the alcohol, you're going to be a jerk with the alcohol. Or let me rephrase. If you're going to be a jerk with the alcohol, they're probably a jerk without the alcohol. Yeah, but, like, I mean, first off, I kind of disagree. And secondly, I would prefer if they were, like, a quiet jerk, at least. But sometimes, once you get, you know, 17 Okanagan Springs in you, lose your sense of decency. Anyway, it's a weird time to be venting about you know, people behaving badly in public, because there is no public. Public does not exist. So how's the run going? It's going real well, but we do need well, we'd like to see an orbital. Need is a strong word. I can do a little bit of damage with Mom's knife, like the one that's attached to us, but not much. I would love to see either a big damage improvement. That was actually surprisingly great. A big damage improvement, or alternatively, an orbital. Like, an orbital with Holy Mantle just means you win. Especially when you have as much HP as we do, so. Piercing shots would also, you know, bring the house down right now. Okay, my mistake there. My mistake. But anyway, yeah, apart from complaining about an event that transpired in our city 9 years ago, what's up? Not that much. Just having a good work day. Feeling good. Yeah, you just have some days that are, like, lighter than others. That's how I feel right now. I'm having a light day. I haven't had a heavy day in a long time, but, like, this day is, like, breezy. Like, I got lungs full of helium, which is why my voice is so high today. I will say, I see a crisis on the horizon. And the crisis on the horizon is, I'm almost back in Netflix purgatory. I don't know what to watch. We are watching The Office. It's still good, but it's showing shades of the show that I'm sure is about to become past season 7. So, it's just, why? It's exactly what we wanted. Hold on. We definitely want one. I think we can hold it for a bit because we're not using Mom's bra anyway. And we might choose to get more later. It's either 1 or 5 is where we want to be. So, we'll see how HP shakes out over time and whether or not we actually want it. But, so then we're going to be in, yikes. We're gonna be back in Netflix purgatory soon. Don't throw your HP away for no reason, please. When The Office is done, I mean, it's soaked up a staggering amount of time. To watch, like, 7 seasons of a show, or, I mean, we might watch all 9 seasons, I guess, of a show that, has 26 or so episodes per season. That's a lot of content, even if each show is about 4 minutes long, once you have no commercials in it. But we even started, like, watching the cooking shows on Netflix, like street food. This is Depths 1, right? Depths 1, no problem. And I came to a realization. And I know how this is going to sound, so I'm asking you to recognize that this is a joke made in good faith. Any cooking show, and I'm talking about like, you know, No Reservations, Somebody Feed Phil, you know, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, whatever. Chef's Table, Street Food, you know, Effin' Delicious, all these shows, Effin' D-word, P-word, I only want to watch 3 kinds of episodes. Full stop. I only want to watch episodes from places I have lived. I only want to watch episodes from places I do live. And I only want to watch episodes from places I've visited on vacation. I realized, so we looked at like this street food, like Street Food Asia was the name of the show. 8 episodes. Philippines, Indonesia, India. I think one of them might have been in Sri Lanka. I can't remember. Taiwan. I'm sorry. I bet there is amazing street food there. I'm not watching it for that. I'm watching cooking shows not to see cool foods to eat, but to see delicious foods I've already eaten or could get in my own city. I will only watch those shows if they're set in Korea, Japan, or Canada. I'm not a fan of any particular cooking show. What I do now is whenever a cooking show comes to Netflix, I look at the episodes. And if they're like, here's an episode in Seoul, here's an episode in Osaka, here's an episode in Seoul, here's an episode in Busan, here's an episode in Montreal, here's an episode in Vancouver, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'll get those. But then when it's like, here's an episode in Panama City, I'm like, I'm not really that interested. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure they got amazing street food there. But I just like, it's the same. If they were like, here's one in London, I'd be like, I don't need to see that. It's okay. I've realized that I do not watch cooking shows to learn. This is maybe part of the reason I don't like the Food Network in general that much anymore to begin with. But, you know, I don't watch them to learn. I watch a cooking show to either re-experience a food I've experienced in the past. Like we were watching the street food Seoul edition. And Kate was like, oh, kalguksu, that's delicious. Oh, bindae-dak, that's delicious. You know, oh, I forget what it's called, like Maya kimbap. That's so good. When we were watching the Osaka episode, I was like, oh man, kushikatsu. Oh man, you know, tuna sashimi. Oh man, okonomiyaki. And then I was watching, you know, Somebody Feed Phil. They did an episode in Morocco I watched, and I was like, that looks delicious, but I'm not that engaged. Then they did an episode in Montreal, and I was like, oh my god, a smoked meat sandwich with a spear of a kosher dill pickle next. Oh my god. I only want to, and it's very selfish, I only want to watch a cooking show that takes place in a way that I can relive a memory. Even like there was I forget if it's Effin' Delicious or whatever the show's called, but Seth Rogen and the chef went to, like they were in Vancouver and they went to some restaurants. The only reason I watched that one was to judge, quite frankly. You know, they're like, oh, this is the best dim sum restaurant in Vancouver. I was like, I doubt it. I've had some good dim sum here, and I ain't never heard of this place. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But I don't know. I just don't know. Kind of a tough decision, right? I will say, of all the cooking shows that are on Netflix, I'm way more about the host than the food at this point in my life. Like, Somebody Feed Phil is good. I give that the good seal of approval. You may find it a little boring. I would say that wouldn't be controversial. But it is a good show because Phil, the host, is bubbly and, you know, effervescent, and, you know, he enjoys doing what he's doing. It's a good time. And then, you know, like No Reservations was awesome because Anthony Bourdain was kind of, you know, like the resident chef philosopher sort of thing that he had going on. And if you're into diners and drive-ins and dives, man, why is it so cursed to put one extra end in there? You know, it's because Guy Fieri's got the personality that's vivacious, right? It's not, you're not like, oh, let me see another fried chicken sandwich. Wow, Eggs Benedict, but this time it has duck instead of, you know, bacon? That's crazy. It's way more about the host. But I know I'm in Netflix purgatory as soon as I start thinking about watching a cooking show, much less watching a cooking show. I gotta say, that, and if we're talking about TV, this is gonna ruffle some people's feathers for sure. I'll take some heat for watching 90 Day Fiancé, don't get me wrong. It's trash. It's trash that's very watchable, but I think it's trash for sure. I know I'm doing the thing I said I wouldn't do about Pacific Rim. And you know what? That's fair, because in my heart, I'm actually like, it's great TV. We are going to take this, by the way, because we are 1 away from Guppy, so I think in this case, it's actually well worth it now. We got a good chance at it. But my least favorite kinds of television program, and this is bifurcated like a snake's tongue, okay? Anything related to home improvement is the super category. Actually, let me rephrase. Home improvement, I actually don't find so bad. Real estate, I find horrible and actually, like, legitimately perhaps a poison on society, and has contributed to the commodification of what, really should be a human right. Not to say everybody, should get their own mansion for free, but, the housing prices have risen, like, so disproportionately relative to the strength of the overall economy in developed nations over the past, 20 years that it just boggles the mind. But, like, disregarding that, a show where people are like, hey, we're going to show you how to, like, fix your sink. I'm like, that's sick. I could watch that. It's like How It's Made. But a show where, I know how this is gonna sound. Just let me do it, okay? Let me do it, all right? A show where two people who are too rich for their own good walk into a house and go like, oh, it's nice, but I would really like a bathroom with 4 sinks. I'm sorry to say, this beautiful house is a deal breaker for me. I need 4 sinks in my bathroom for me and my husband. It's that kind of content. Again, no disrespect if you like watching it, but if you're making it, oh my god. So as much as I might rag on cooking shows for being very samey, I'll tell you, manufactured drama, real estate shows make me want the whole medium to collapse in on itself, quite frankly. And there's varying degrees, for sure. Like I am always stunned at the ecosystem that allows so many of these kinds of shows to exist. There's like 15 Love It or Listeds now. Love It or Listed Vegas, Love It or Listed Vancouver, Love It or Listed Nashville. And then there's like 10 varieties of that that are just named different things. Like House Hunters is not really the same as Love It or Listed. It's kind of like, Love It, Listed, and Listed. You get your choice of 3 places, even though you already bought one of them 7 months before the show started taping, and it's all made up for HGTV's user base. But anyway, there's House Hunters. Okay, whatever. When there's one show, I'm not gonna lose it. Then there's like House Hunters, Beach Hunters, House Hunters Overseas, House Hunters, and I will say I had a great time watching one episode of House Hunters International. It was a couple that was trying to buy a home in Greenland, in Nuuk. And I was like, this is, because it's almost like a cultural, like a travel show now. This is really interesting to me. I've never seen, so much footage of Nuuk before. Guppy's head? Guppy's head? Magic School Bus? But I'm like, man. And then the shows where it's like, less about the real estate and more about like, oh, the real estate agent themselves is like the draw. Oh my god. I know I just kind of said the opposite about that for cooking shows, but again, I don't think I've ever heard anybody be like, chefs are ruining the local economy. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit too woke for my own good on this subject. Just, I will say for context, keep in mind I live in a city where, it's really like Canada and Toronto that are, the average housing prices are like, de-destroyed. Pretty much completely out of whack with what like the local market can support at all. So that's where a lot of my, I got like a lot of reasons to dislike HGTV that are all selfish and personal, but like, I moved a decent amount as a kid because my parents were, well, that's not really true. I only moved like 3 or 4 times as a kid. But after I graduated from high school and went to college, my parents moved like once a year for a decade. Actually, they're still kind of doing it. Like, they... First, like, you know, when I went to college, they moved into a house that was, like, in the city. Because they're like, we don't need to care about, like, school districts and stuff like that anymore. We can, you know, we're getting a little bit older, so we want to be where things are, and we can just walk to things instead of having to drive everywhere. Fair enough. So then they bought a house in the city, and then they're like, this house is nice, but it's kind of like, it's a prefab, you know? We'd like to build our own dream home. So they built their own dream home, kind of a little bit more in the suburbs, but then they had, like, you know, there's some things they didn't like about it, which was, you know, without getting into it, was not really their fault. It was kind of like a developer-based issue. So anyway, they were like, okay, we're going to offload this place, and then we're going to, like, we don't need this much space. Like, we built our dream home, and it's too big, you know? We're two people without, you know, a child in the house anymore. You know, it would be nice to have, like, an extra room that you can come and sleep in when you visit, but we don't, you know, need to have, like, a sprawling mansion or anything. So they moved into a condo, and they've been loving the condo life, but then they have moved a couple of times, you know, condo-wise, because they're like, we'd prefer to face, like, a different direction. And by the way, they're very good homeowners. Every place they live in, they renovate, and they're not flippers. Like, they they flip accidentally, if that makes sense. They're incidental flippers. Every place that my parents moved to, they tell me they're going to live in it forever, and my mom will say the exact same thing to me. They go, this is for real the last time. I hate moving so much. Oh my god, this is the last time. And then my parents' high standards for residence, combined with my dad's insatiable appetite for things to do, always leads to stuff like, you know, they show me the pictures of the place, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. And then when I actually visit there, I'm like, whoa, it's amazing. And they're like, yeah, your dad ripped out all the carpet and put in, like, you know, hardwood. He did all the crown molding and put in his own, like, barrel cambered ceiling. And I'm like, thanks, Dad, I really appreciate it. You could rest, you know? But now, so they were like, they got a really nice place they're very happy with. And they were totally cool with it. Then I was talking to my mom the other day, and she's like, you know, because of this COVID stuff, we don't really want to be in the city anymore, because we feel like if we're going to be inside a lot, it would be nice to have, like, an outdoor garden space. So we're actually thinking about moving back to, like, the area we lived in when you were in college. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, it's your life, don't get me wrong. But because of their real estate enjoyment, I watch so much HGTV and Trading Spaces and Debbie Travis's Painted House and, you know, etc., as a child. Then combined with HGTV's rise to ubiquity, as you know, time went on, it was really just kind of like inescapable, you know what I mean? So I really, I don't like HGTV. That's about it. That's all I had to say. Have I been talking long? Sir, I yield my time. That's probably my least favorite kind of television. Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, like, for all the hate that people give reality TV, I'm not a big reality TV fan, don't get me wrong. Sincerely. Like, I'm still paying penance for when I watched half of a season of 90 Day Fiancé. People are like, you say that you like good stuff, yet one time you got enjoyment out of watching bad thing. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, you watch One Piece, I thought you would understand, but I guess not. But either way, I don't know anything about One Piece. I know it's popular, so I've poked the hornet's nest, but go ahead, hit me, see if I care. We got guppy chances here, dude. It would be nice. Our damage is still a little whack, even though the run is set in stone. We'll take Sack Dagger. Honestly, we might want to consider using Yera just to get some Demon Hearts or Spirit Hearts if we find some, but... Isn't that a Tears Up? Isn't Wiggle Worm a Tears Up? I've been getting some flack for not recognizing that for a bit. Anyway, I would much rather watch, like, a whole season of a terrible, like, romance reality show, or like Big Brother or something like that, which I don't even mean to lump in as terrible, Not just to save Dan's feelings. I think there's like some enjoyment to be gleaned from those shows, some strategy and some storylines. It's not just trash TV, right? It's kind of like D&D, but for real people. It's B&B of the non-air variety. Yeah, I shouldn't have gone there. But I would much rather watch like a season of Love Island than watch like 2 episodes of House Hunters. And that's genuine. I'll put my money where my mouth is if I have to. Okay? 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 Sure. Okay? No? I mean, everything's good. We do have to be the slightest, just the slightest bit cautious. You know what? We actually might want to roll D7, right? The D7, if we get hit, we just bail. And realistically, this has been a really well-handled room. Realistically, we're going to spend most of our damage, most of our time doing damage with the sack dagger, not the... Oh, no, but oh, yeah, it's okay. I guess we don't really care about our stats that much right now. The only stat that matters is, does sack dagger kill quickly? And the answer is yes. Shoop the Whoop is a great item, but again, I kind of feel like the D7 is our experiment here, and I can't see how it would not work out decently. Might as well take that. Might as well take that. And you can run and tell that homeboy, a homeboy. Remember that? Songify the news. Those were the days, man. Now I just read the news. Say a Japan Droid song. Or yeah, maybe more like the Offspring. When we were young, the future was so bright. Oh, we used to sing the news and not just write. Oh, Shmoyo. And every song on the whole dang street, Shmoyo was gonna make us laugh and make us have a treat. I still think the Japan Droids reference, it fits. It's just not everybody's going to be so familiar with it, you know? But the first, like, you know, famous Japan Droid songs. Well, if you'll excuse me just a moment, please. Okay, I'm back. And no joke, this is a good thing. It was just a shipment of diapers. We probably have, like, 400 diapers in our home right now. Again, is good. I ain't complaining. But my wife has found like every loyalty program that gives out free baby stuff. It turns out, like, by the way, all these companies give out free baby stuff. Because you get a customer for life, right? Like if you start using Enfamil, which is a formula brand, and the baby likes Enfamil, you're not going to go to the grocery store and be like, oh, let's try Similac just to mix it up. So they all offer, like, pretty generous free trials. Well, not free trials. They just they give you the sample, right? And the same is true for diaper companies. Like, every company that makes diapers, and even some stores that don't make diapers, but they sell diapers, just have, like, the option to get some free diapers, because, you know, they know if you put this diaper on the baby and the baby likes it, you're going to come back to, you know, London Drugs or whatever to get some more diapers. So it's sick. Like, legitimately, I don't think we bought diapers, and we have, like, a bunch of shelves just stocked to the brim. Anyway, thanks for watching. It was a good episode. I hope you enjoyed it, unless you work for HGTV. Apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. See you.